welcome back to my channel. I am Nurse Jackie. So I don't even know what week we're in. I think this is week 8. But anyways, I've been working as a nurse practitioner for about 2 months now. And this past week was a little bit different than the past couple of weeks. Well, I guess every week has been different because I was in orientation, and then I finally got my own schedule where I was seeing my own patients. But then this week, everything kind of changed. So last week I told you guys that one of the nurse practitioners was leaving, and that nurse practitioner did a lot of work with hormone patients and fertility patients. I've always, let me not say always, but I have this newfound passion for fertility and helping people get pregnant. I might have had it for a while and I just didn't know. I didn't realize it until I was looking for clinical sites when I was still in school. And I would have loved to work in a fertility clinic or do clinicals in a fertility clinic, but that I never got that opportunity. So, God being the God that He is, I am now working at a doctor's office that is known for its successful fertility rates and helping women get pregnant. And now I am training to fill the position where I will be helping women get pregnant. So God is good. God always has a plan. God knew what my passions were before I did, and He had a plan all along. So here I am. This past week I did a lot of training on fertility. I still have a lot of more training to do, but I worked with the nurse practitioner and her schedule this past week, and we focused on hormones and fertility. She gave me a lot of homework to do. I still need to go and do that. So today is Saturday. So I worked with the nurse practitioner. So on Monday, I had my own regular schedule because I already had a full schedule of patients. So I saw my patients on Monday. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I was with the nurse practitioner. We did see some fertility patients, and we really went over a whole lot of policy and procedures and just the things that have worked for her. She's been doing this for a long time. The clinic, like I said, is well known for its successful fertility rates, and the original founder or owner of the clinic started this over 50 years ago, and we still have patients that come in and say, oh my gosh, he helps me get pregnant. And so I love hearing those stories, and now to know that I'm going to be a part of that is amazing. So I followed her Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Thursday half a day because on Thursday I was already scheduled to come out to Dallas area to do some training for hormone replacement. So I already knew going into this clinic that I wanted to work with hormones. Work with hormone patients, not necessarily giving you hormones, but just understanding the patient, that's dealing with hormone issues. And hormones have so much to do with our everyday lives, our bodies, our metabolism, the way we sleep. There's a lot. If somebody's feeling tired, or they feel like they're losing their mind, or they have decreased libido, all of that is tied to hormones. So, and in some cases, some people do need hormone replacement, and I've been doing a lot of pellet insertion with the previous doctor that I was with. And so I left Thursday evening to come out to the Dallas area. I did take the Von Lane luxury bus. Don't know if you guys have heard of that. This was my first time using it. It was recommended by one of the doctors that I work with, and it was actually pretty comfortable. It's about the same that it is to drive from Houston to Dallas, about 4 hours, but I got to lean back in a recliner. I put on my cozy blanket and I got to chill. So we left Houston around almost 6 o'clock. Thursday evening, I got to my hotel. So the bus takes you directly to your hotel. I got to my hotel at the Hilton right around 10. And then, I woke up Friday morning. I went to the class. The class was very informative. It did take all day, longer than my clinical day. But hey, I feel well prepared and equipped to go back and start doing pellets with background information. So I was doing pellets before just to learn the technique, but now I feel like I can actually give you the safety and the pros and the cons and the contraindications about it. So I really feel good about the training. It was nice being away a little bit from home. I did come back yesterday after the class. I hung out, I chilled. I did go and get a workout in. Almost didn't, but I did go and get a workout in. I was also productive with some other stuff I have going on, so I really felt accomplished. I went to bed, and now I am getting up, and I'm gonna go walk around this neighborhood for a little while. It's a nice little neighborhood. They have a lot of good restaurants. I'm gonna go get breakfast and come back and get back on the bus and head home. But so that was this weekend. Now, some of the things I did go over last week in clinic, like I said, we did a whole lot of fertility training. I want to see an IUI procedure. I think we have one coming up this week, but if not, then I will have to YouTube them for a while until I can sit in on one, because I will be doing IUIs, and that's pretty cool. For some of you guys who don't know what an IUI is, it's basically we have a patient and her husband. The patient's husband will bring in, well, the patient's husband is not always there, but the patient will bring in her husband or partner's sperm that has been sperm washed, and we inject it into the patient. We make sure that the patient has good eggs, good size. We get the best sperm from the husband through that whole sperm washing process. We inject the sperm into the woman to kind of help. But yeah, so I do want to be able to sit into that, and so hopefully we do have a patient that comes in this week, well, next week with that, so I get to see it. I think we have one scheduled, so hopefully everything works out and they come in. I don't know. So I think on my last video I told you guys that I went to the hospital. I worked last Saturday. I was actually supposed to work this Saturday too, which I don't know why I scheduled myself so many Saturdays in a row, because I'm actually working next Saturday. And working 5 days, Monday through Friday at the clinic, and then going to work on Saturday at the hospital is crazy. And to think I did that to myself 3 days in a row, I don't know what I was thinking. But anyways, I worked last Saturday, and it was not horrible, but I was tired Sunday and into the beginning of the week. I was really not able to be present for my kids and my family with that one day Sunday to get everything together for church and whatever we were doing that day and for the week. So I came to the realization that although I love labor and delivery, hospital might not be for me right now with everything I have going on. So this past week, I want to say Thursday before I left for the trip, I went to the hospital and I put in my 2-week notice. I talked to my director, who used to be my manager, who was originally my charge nurse and became my friend, and let her know. And she was excited for me because, you know, I went to school to become a nurse practitioner, and now I'm living my dream. So she was excited. She gave me hugs and all the things. It was great. But I officially put in my 2-week notice as a labor and delivery nurse. That's big, y'all. That's big. I have been a labor and delivery nurse for 9 years. It's kind of, you know, who I am. Not my true identity. I know my identity is in Christ, but as far as what I do, I'm a labor and delivery nurse. So now, well, in about a week and a half, I won't be a labor and delivery nurse anymore. I will miss labor and delivery, but I will not miss the hospital. I just have a lot going on right now. And I still plan on I've actually got a lot of information from some of you guys and then other people about where I can further my education to become a midwife later. So I'm going to settle into my role that I have now. It's a pretty big role, and I am getting a lot of responsibility and a lot of specialties. It could be a little overwhelming. When I initially heard that I would be taking over for fertility and hormones, I was like, but you know, when you have the favor of God over you, obviously they saw something in me, and obviously God put me in this position. So, you know, I'm not worried. I'll get all the training that I need, all the support and help, and I'm really just going to focus on all the things I have going on right now with the nurse practitioner role, and then family life and other things I have going on. And then eventually, I would still love to pursue my education to be able to become a midwife as well. So yeah, let's see. Oh, I did have a patient this week though. I think on Monday when I had my own full schedule. And she had, so during pregnancy, early in the pregnancy, we do some genetic testing if you decide to or not. So we did the genetic testing in the office, the maternity 21, and it came back positive for something. It came back positive for Down syndrome. So that is just a screening test. So when that came back and the patient, obviously was upset or worried, we then had to send her for, a definite diagnosis. And the only way to do that is through an amniocentesis, which is it's not an easy procedure, whereas there's a lot of risk associated, and it's painful from what I've heard. So she did her amniocentesis. That came back as Down syndrome. So then she came into the office and she was just shaken, of course. She didn't speak English, so we had to translate. We had a practitioner there who could translate, and the patient had her cousin with her. So the cousin was saying that the patient wants to know if she should terminate the pregnancy. Despite my religious beliefs, we live in Texas. It is no longer allowed. So let's go back to the beginning. When I saw all the notes on this patient, she came in, she was doing her anatomy scan. She had a whole bunch of questions for the ultrasound person. She had a whole bunch of questions for the MA who sat her down. So I knew, with my limited experience, I was not going to be able to answer her questions. So I went and got my supervising provider, and I was like, look, you're going to have to come in with me. So he did. So I had a bunch of backup. We had a bunch of support, and we had a lot of people in there who can answer her questions. So the provider told her, I can't tell you to terminate or not terminate. And so the cousin assumed it was because it was illegal. And he was like, no. He was like, well, yes, it is illegal, so I would not tell you to terminate, but the amniocentesis results are inconclusive. There was some, so we only had the preliminary results at that time. And from the report that we were reading, it was 30% positive for Down syndrome. There's still a big possibility that the baby does not have Down syndrome. We would not tell a patient to terminate a pregnancy with only 30% possibility of Down syndrome. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't tell a patient to terminate a pregnancy anyways. So that's what the doctor was trying to get the patient to understand, that we don't have the final results yet. So they get the preliminary results, I think, in 3 days, and then they have to wait for the final results, which come in 7 to 10. She still had a few more days. But mind you, she was about 20 weeks pregnant, which is about 5 months. She didn't want to go too much further if the baby had Down syndrome, because she, according to the cousin made it sound like she was going to terminate if the baby had Down syndrome. And the cousin said, well, I'm going to take her to New Mexico. After talking to the patient for a while with our practitioner translating for her, we realized that the patient was just scared and she was just worried. The patient, I think, is going to keep the pregnancy no matter what the results are. The cousin was scared for the patient because she didn't want her to have to deal with all the things that come with a Down syndrome baby. The patient's main worry was, if I deliver this baby and she I think it's a girl, and she has so many issues, will she die soon after? She was worried about that. Like, will she be able to handle the loss and not necessarily just the hard work, but is my baby going to survive even if I deliver? The doctor told her, we have no way of giving you a definite answer. The doctor actually opened up a little bit and told the family about his family, which is true. He has a sister. He had a sister that was born with Down syndrome. So he was able to give some insight. He said that, it was hard for his parents, but his sister was always happy. The patient, I think that helped the patient a little bit, because even if she has to struggle for a little bit, she'll know, well, she can hope that at least whatever time she has with her baby, the baby will be happy. It was a hard situation, just all around. That appointment took a long time because it's a sensitive topic. We had to do some translating. We didn't have all of the results yet. It was just a sensitive topic. And it just seems like in the OB-GYN world, I'm going to keep seeing a lot of sensitive topics. And now I'm going into fertility. I know that's going to be sensitive also. So I just, of course, I pray every day before I go into work, but I really just pray that no matter what happens throughout the day, that people can feel God's love and peace and grace. So I really just, I always ask that God's love like shines through me, and I really always try to be compassionate with my patients. And sometimes all I can do is give them a hug, or like this lady, the practitioner, like we gave her a tissue. I mean, she's crying. We can console you, but we can never tell you what to do with your pregnancy. So yeah, that was Monday. And then I did a lot of fertility training. I still did some regular clinic work. I did some well women's. I did some GYN visits, STIs, stuff like that. And then I ended the week here in the Dallas area for a training class for pellet insertion. So I will go back to the office Monday, ready to do pellets on my own, back to a lot of knowledge. If you're having any issues with hormones and you're interested in pellets, let me know. I will continue training this week with the nurse practitioner to learn more fertility, and hopefully I get to see an IUI procedure. But that was my week. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Let me know. Let me know if there's anything you want to ask me or you want me to answer specifically. And I am about to go get breakfast before I need to come back and get ready to get on my bus to head back home to my family. Y'all have a great week.